Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's a bot author recommended replay. It's none other than Eris taking on GPT, aka General Purpose Terran. Probably not programmed by ChatGPT, as in my experience, bots that are programmed by ChatGPT don't do too well. And I have literal experience on that with my bot. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this bot versus bot, Terran versus Zerg, make sure to go ahead, click that like button. If we can get, 4 likes on this video, that would be amazing. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. Your comments are appreciated and I read them all. Or better yet, let me know in the comments down below what temperature you keep your house at. We're getting into the burr chilly months, so I know that everyone keeps their house a bit of a different temperature. Personally, it's very cold in my house, so yeah, let's see. As we've got that quick third hatchery from Eris, so going to have a lot of economic possibility, followed up by this drone scout. This is something that Eris's author decides to make as a sacrifice to avoid the early cheeses, and we see it rarely finding anything, but there's probably a lot of selection bias in that, whereas I tend to cast the more epic, longer matches. Guys, on AIarena.net, on the ladder, bots are cheesing just the heck out of each other all day long, and there's a lot of those games that don't get cast here on the channel. So there's a reason why Eris does this, and yeah, I don't think I said it before, but subscribe if you guys haven't already, and if you do want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube member. I realize that my my membership perks are kind of more geared towards like StarCraft 2 fans, like people who play ladder actively, because some of the perks are like, oh, coaching, that kind of thing. But it's like, I don't know, maybe I'll take a deep dive into your bot, that kind of thing, if you don't want actual StarCraft coaching. Because while I'm not a programmer, I do think I have a decent eye for areas that can be improved in some bots. Now, let's see here, as we've got Marines chasing down Eris's Scoutingling. GPT is going for its 2-base build, so not going for its crazy 1-base aggression that we've seen a fair few times. Its 2-base build is this interesting compromise that the author seems to have come up with. They didn't want to, or they chose not to switch their bot to being like a macro expand all over the place bot. It's just that sharp timing, just version 2 of it, basically. And bots can build up a lot of bio on 2 bases, and that's one of the areas which you can make your bot thrive by having the sort of death balls. And weirdly enough, GPT builds up a Terran death ball. It builds up just a ridiculous amount of firepower that, depending on how well its opponent's bots micro, they might just die. I look at Eris right now and I'm thinking, how will it possibly deal with a timing attack from GPT? The first thing that comes to mind is probably Infestors. Infestors are very good against bio balls. And the Zerg bots, like Eris, do make great use of fungal growth, that kind of thing. And yeah, let's see here. We've got Stimpack going on up for GPT, going for its 3rd racks. We'll see if it has that money spending bug that it had previously. It's floated a bit too much resources in previous matches, which I think has underpowered its timing attacks. Whereas if it spends all its money, we might just get the mother of all timing attacks in this game, and so far it's doing that, and no minerals being floated. We already see Eris's economy is looking disgusting right now. The Zerg bot, guys, check the clock. It's 4 minutes, 40 seconds into the game. The Zerg is at 61 drones. 4 minutes ago, this Zerg bot was starting out with 12 drones like all players do. And yeah, it's just impressive how quickly these bots can macro up. Eris has got some great economic optimization, as it does have its lair on the way, so it will be able to get an infestation pit. We're starting to see unit production kick in, though. Unit production is something that Eris will have to look towards pretty soon, because GPT is building up towards that first wave. I don't think we'll get the first wave till at least like 1-1 is done. I can't recall exactly what GPT marks as its first attack, but it's not as quick as you'd think. Like, GPT takes its time to build up its army, and it builds up a big army. Now, Eris is pumping out a decent number of its own units. It does have that 4th hatchery on the way. Creep is spreading. The creep spread will be very important to delay GPT. The Hydra Den is on the way next. Now, still no infestation pit from the Zerg, which is making me a little bit nervous. And I say that just because I know how GPT is going to play. Usually units over rushing spellcasters is the safer route in Starcraft 2, but we know that Eris probably would have had time to get up to these infestors against GPT, but just not. But that's not every game. So the author's playing it just safe, having some good coding, seeing there isn't a third base. It's probably caught glimpses of GPT's army if I had to guess. And so it is just pumping out units off of 70 drones. That's a reasonable compromise. An Evo chamber, I believe, yeah, that's the second Evo chamber going up for Eris, so we do have +1 attack on the way. The timing attacks could be... The timing could be nice for GPT, since its 1-1 is starting quicker than that of Eris. Still, though, we're going to have Tunneling Claw, Burrowed Roaches, so they can take damage, burrow, and retreat, and potentially just a ridiculous amount. Like, GPT is building up a big force, but Eris has got 160 supply already, and it's basically mining a third more minerals than GPT. So... as far as the numbers game goes, I think Eris might actually be in a fine spot. It fires up 12 more drones, getting up a 5th hatchery, pardon me. The 5th at the 4th and the 4th at the 5th, I guess. But yeah, so Eris should be in a fine spot to intercept this. Just the question is, will these roaches be able to stand against what GPT has? And here we go. That first move out is heading out, so that by the time GPT gets to Eris's side of the map, the 1-1 will be done. The Zerg bot is going to see this move out happening. The creep tumors are buying not much time as GPT plows forward. Eris could have a nice concave against this. However, the tanks are getting set up in the back, and that is the main concern. My PC may be lagging a bit as this just ridiculously big battle occurs. We've got queens coming from the back. The tanks are just getting so many shots off. The Marines are going down, but we see just how good tanks are in these bot matches. A few more Corrosive Biles get dropped, but they did not get placed on the tanks. So Eris trades very poorly against GPT. 37 Marines did their job buffering. We do have the reinforcements for GPT coming across the map reasonably quickly too, and so Eris is in a world of trouble here. Corrosive Bile does kill the Raven, so there's going to be no more detection, which means these roaches can burrow and be safe. That's actually a massive pickoff here for Eris. Looks like the 4th base will be going down. 4th, 5th, whatever you want to call it. The Zerg does just have its +1 attack done. +1 Carapace is on the way. Supply-wise, though, Eris is in trouble. It's just producing more roaches. They're going to start getting efficiency, though. As I said, no Raven here, so they can just burrow, stay safe, and then unburrow, take a shot, reburrow, that kind of thing. It's going to take a while, but Eris may have time. GPT's building another Raven. It's not a bot that utilizes scans, I don't think, either, so there's not that. However, GPT is not wasting any time. It's pushing into the natural base of Eris, and that is concerning. Eris can maybe afford to lose 1 base, maybe 2, but it's already having its main base where all its tech structures be worked on. Roaches are coming behind these tanks one by one. They're getting close to getting a few of them, but when all the tanks are sieged up and firing, it does not bode well for the roaches. Eris sees these tanks, so maybe it could be using like a burrow approach to actually get on top of these. That could potentially be an option, but we're just not seeing that. The roaches are moving in. I think that would be something very interesting for the author to explore in niche cases. However, now we see the +2 carapace of Eris gets shut down as the Evo chamber dies. The infestation pit that never made any infestors going down the main base still being worked on. GPT is far ahead in supply, but Eris is building up a decent roach count once again. But here's the problem. The Raven coming across the map once again means these roaches will just get butchered again. And I think GPT may have successfully broke Eris. The Zerg bot does have good redundancy in that it's even building a new hatchery during all this chaos. That's the Eris approach. Just out-expand the aggression. And looks like the marine count is thinning out in the main, so this section may be able to be dealt with. And then the camera pans to just the ridiculous second wave. 2-2 GPT bio tank moving on in. Eris will have +2 attack, but there's no more Ravagers to potentially corrosive ball down that Raven. There is 22 roaches, which isn't a terrible amount, and they are going to skirmish with these Marines, but as we can see, the Raven does allow some of these to get picked off. That attempt at a natural base again going down. Eris can potentially outlast this push by GPT. GPT's main is completely mined out at this point in the game, so reinforcements will be slowing down. Eris does have this kind of nice split on its bases in that GPT will have to take a lot of time to go find these other bases. It is finding them, just kind of heading on over here with no clear indication of bases here. So cool behavior by GPT. Eris is going to take a fight. Injured roaches are pulling back, so still getting some decent efficiency. GPT's tanks were not sieged up during this. That actually did allow the Zerg to get a decent opportunity. More roaches being produced. GPT's got 3-3 on the way. Eris heading towards +2. Roaches trying to get some of these tanks. Once the tanks go down, it is just skirmish city for the roaches. So Eris may be able to clean this up now. We see these roaches just cycling in and out, just regenerating HP. Is there another wave for GPT, though? Yes, there is. And that is a little concerning for the Zerg. Eris is doing a good job holding on. Supplies are actually starting to even out, though, as Eris does do this great skirmishing, but there's the tanks getting sieged up. GPT with +2 attack on them as well is now getting guaranteed roach kills. Did Eris lose its roach war? No, it didn't, but it's switching to Lings now, strangely enough. I'm not sure what the reasoning for that is. I do think the roaches are the best choice here. Maybe it's planning for a counterattack, something like that. As roaches are now moving forward, they're getting on top of the tanks that are not sieged up, so the tanks will go down again. It looks like good trade for the Zerg, and Eris does lose a hatchery during this. Drone's trying to run on out of there. We see the safety padding on those drones, like, we probably shouldn't go through there, which is very good. But at some point in StarCraft 2, you do got to make that mad dash with your workers, even though you're going to lose some. But it looks like they do get to safety. GPT picks off another building base, but look at this. Eris rebuilt its natural. It's being a cockroach right now. We are going to have 3-3 finishing for GPT. Eris not far behind with its +2 carapace, so the upgrade discrepancy will still be about the same. Roaches still trading pretty darn well against GPT, but, I mean, pretty darn well is just an improvement based on what it's been. We're now getting Hydras, which I don't think will do very well at all. They do have the range, and they deal pretty good damage, but they can't burrow to get away from these Marines at all. I mean, the roaches, some of them are going down, but at least some of them are surviving here. So we'll see as Eris is taking a bit of a poor concave, pushing up into its own natural base. The Hydras, okay, they are putting out some damage here, actually using their nice range to kite against the Marines, which is very impressive. Just when the Marines do get on top of them, it's lights out. Eris down to 76 supply, still pumping more Hydras. I'm really interested why it stopped producing roaches at this point in the game, because I do think the roaches probably are the better choice, as Eris is investing in +1 melee, not something you want to do in this situation. GPT's still sending more reinforcements across the map. It's almost totally out of money, so there may be light at the end of the tunnel here for Eris. If it can clean up this section, then maybe it can start the process all over again. Hydras are shooting at the medivacs, so I guess that's a plus, but they're not going to get any, I don't think. Picking off those medivacs would be a nice advantage for Eris, but I guess it's got 3 of them, but now the main base is going down. I mean, the useless +1 is being shut down. That's actually good for Eris. It doesn't need that +1 attack. We do have more Hydras, more Lings being produced. The Roachhorn could be in trouble here, though, and then it will just be Hydras, so I do think that GPT has been able to finally take this one. 15 minutes into the game, Eris is running out of steam. It does have more bases still mining, and yeah, it's got like a decent base count still. There's a world in which Eris can win this. Like, GPT is producing its last units, guys, and yeah, so there is a world if Eris can just out-expand the attack. Hydras need to be careful. The Roach Warren going down was a big loss for Eris. It's also not rebuilding it, just playing this pure Hydra comp, and the Roaches tend to do better, so yeah, this is unfortunate here for the Zerg. I would love to see this game again if Eris did just keep producing Roaches instead of switching to Hydras. GPT able to pick off this base. And, okay, Eris does come behind. It gets on top of a tank. That's probably, well, there's actually 2 more tanks, but one of the last tanks in the game here. The Zerg does have this location still mining. This location to the north, it's rebuilding a spawning pool. One of the last few Roaches does go down. Yeah, 40 supply against 135. Eris will keep trying. It's rebuilding its natural base yet again. The Cockroach Zerg. GPT actually splitting up its army here, though. Oh, that's interesting. That's actually, yeah, I wonder if that was just a fluke that happened, but yeah, GPT does want to split up its army, search for these bases. We do have a random Marine turning around. I wonder if that guy is looking for a base or what he's trying to do. Hydras might actually pick him off, so that's nice for Eris. The main base cleared out. GPT does find this other base location. It's got the Hydra Den. It's got the spawning pool. There'll be no more production for Eris once those goes down. The Zerg is trying to save it, but it shall be unable to. There's no big counterattack or anything like that. GPT still muling the mineral patches that it can see. It's one of those, it's not a bug, it's a feature, as it can see those mineral fields, so it drops mules on them. So it still has a tiny, tiny income. Yeah, that is it, though. Eris down to 29 supply. For a second, I thought the Zerg might have been able to make it happen, but yeah, just such a close match between these two bots. Very good game. I do feel kind of bad casting another Eris loss, but that's just how it is. And I'll try to cast some Eris wins in the future here. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, click that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support the channel, as that goes a long way. And big thanks to everyone who does. We do get a GG from Eris, and I think that was rightfully so. Yeah, I'm going to go do an exam and cry, so yeah, I was just having a little Starcraft bot break before I go do that, sort of reset the brain. And yeah, just a small heads up, I've got 4 exams in the next week, so but I've got like a fair few videos queued, so I might miss like a day or two. Probably not, but just a heads up if I do. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.